All right, let's continue on. All right, so I'm gonna go back and read Revelations chapter 21, verse 17. Then he measured its wall 144 cubits according to the measure of a man, that is, of an angel. Then he measured its wall 144 cubits according to the measure of a man, that is, of an angel. So that's Revelations 21, verse 17. And this something, like I said, this was something I was shown. I learned it. I'm not going to go into it too deep, but I'm going to share the little bit that I do know and see and go from there. Ezekiel 47, verse 3. And when the man went out to the east with the line in his hand, he measured 1,000 cubits, and he brought me through the waters. The waters came up to my ankles. Again, he measured. Let me stop right there. And notice that it says, and when the man went out to the east. So I just said on the other video, but I'm going to repeat it again. The tree of life, which we know is Christ, is in Genesis chapter 3, verse 24. All right. And then if you go to Numbers chapter 2, verse 3, you'll see that the tribe of Judah, which is the armies, was on the east at the rising of the sun, and the begotten son, Yahushua HaMashiach, Yahweh Shai, Yashiyah, Yeshua, Jesus, rose from the tribe of Judah, and all his glory, how the sun shines in the morning. He was in the morning. That was the name of the choir that he was in. So all of that represents the Mashiach. Okay. Now, also too, the star was in the east in Matthew chapter 2. The wise men came from the east. When people pray, they pray to the east towards what? Jerusalem, right? So with that being said, now let's look at Ezekiel chapter 47, verse 3. And the reason why I'm bringing these two together, because you see that Revelations chapter 21, verse 17, it talks about 144 cubits. All right. Now we see right here in Ezekiel 47, verse 3, the measurement of a man in cubics. And when the man went out to the east with the line in his hand, he measured 1,000 cubits, and he brought me through the waters, and the waters came up to my ankles. Again, he measured 1,000 and brought me through the waters. The waters came up to my knees. Again, he measured 1,000 and brought me through the water, came up to my waist. Again, he measured 1,000, and it was a river that I could not cross, for the water was too deep, water in which one must swim, a river that could not be crossed. Okay? So notice that he's given measurements of a man and in cubics. And we see that the man went out to the east, and we see that he's, next thing you know, we see he's measuring thousands, right? And what's 1,000 times 144? 144,000, right? All right. So, but at the end of the day, it says right here in verse 5, again, he measured 1,000, and it was a river that I could not cross, for the water was too deep, water in which one must swim, a river that could not be crossed. Once again, this is prophecy. So the revelation had not been revealed yet. There's a certain thing far as that he could not cross. You see what I'm saying? But here, there, a little bit there. You know what I'm saying? All right. Just something to meditate on. If there's some more that you got that you could bring out, feel free to comment and let it be known. But Ezekiel, that was Revelation chapter 21, verse 17, and Ezekiel chapter 47, verse 3 to 5. But once again, 144 still dealing with the body of a man. Now, we can look at the 144,000, and we understand that you got 12 tribes and 12,000 to each tribe. And I know in some of the 5%er lessons, it talks about that, how you have 12 elders over each tribe. And which the 12 elders, you had a man and a woman. So really it's 24. So we see in Revelation, it talks about the 24 elders, right? Just trying to show y'all. All right. Revelation chapter 5, verse 8. Now, when he had taken the scroll, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, each having a harp and golden bowls full of incense, which are the prayers of the saints. All right. So you got 12 elders, which really breaks down to 24 elders, because you got a man and a woman chiefing over each tribe. Okay. Then each elder, because man and woman are a ka, they're one. So we got 12. We got 12 over each tribe, but it's really 24, but it's 12. They're one. All right. Then you got 12 assistants to each elder. All right. So just like Christ had 12 disciples. All right. Then I'm gonna stop saying all right. Then for each 12 assistants to the elder, there's 1,000 that each one is responsible for. So you got one with 12 assistants plus heading over the 1,000. So 1,000 to each, 12,000 to each tribe. 12,000 times 12 is 144,000. Okay. Now, just making the connections here. You know what I'm saying? To my for my poor righteous teachers, and sharing some of the things that some of the brethren might see all the time, but might have never looked at things a certain way. And how great would it be for my brothers to dwell in unity? And the only time someone looks down on their brother is to pick them up. So that would be nice. All right. Now, with that being said, once again, we're dealing with the body of Christ. All right. Now, let's go to Luke chapter 11, verse 34. And it says, the lamp of the body is the eye. Therefore, when your eye is good, your whole body also is full of light. But when your eye is bad, your body also is full of darkness. So I'm going to explain this in 2 different ways. One way that someone will perceive this is if your eyes, but one thing is, notice it says eye, singular. But someone say, well, you know what they're talking about. If you look out of your eyes and you have a bad view on things, then your whole body is not going to be full of light. But if you look out of your eye and you see things in a positive perspective and it be full of the light of the Hamashiach, then your whole body be full of light. You know what I'm saying? So we're talking about the body. But it also says eye. Now, there's this thing called the third eye. All right, right here. You know what I'm saying? Your third eye. So some people actually believe that this eye that is being spoken of is the pineal gland. Okay. Now, with that being said, there's something that I'm gonna just have to keep it 100 as a testimony. I brought up this thing about the pineal gland amongst some Messianic Jews at a Messianic Jewish congregation in California at Simcha Yeshua. And they scattered like bugs from me, to be honest with you, when I brought it up. I mean, they didn't even stand near me to even answer my question. It was like crazy. Like, I was just like... it was about John, because John had revelations at an island called Patmos that was being said. But the tribe that was in Patmos was actually known as the pineal tribe. So I was like, oh, wow. Like, the pineal gland, like the fluoride in your toothpaste and different things clogs up your pineal gland. So the thing is, I said, hey, man, that's interesting that, he had visions on the island of Patmos, and, the tribe is called pineal tribe. Like, is that ain't got anything to do with the pineal gland? They even want to even entertain the question or entertain the thought. You know what I'm saying? So they kind of answered my question, to be honest with you. But they didn't answer it, but they answered it. You see what I'm saying? Like it ruffled that. I still, it was dumbfounded. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good though. Genesis chapter 32, verse 22 through 22 through 32. And much respect to that congregation though, Simcha Yeshua. I learned a lot there, you know what I'm saying? So, no disrespect, you know what I'm saying? I just want that question answered, you feel me? And that's what it's about, you know what I mean? Jew and Gentile together, and some questions, I guess, the flesh is still going to rise in certain individuals and they're not going to want to answer it. But, the reality is that Brian there does a great job far as ministering to the people there, you know what I'm saying? But there's a few things that I see that I was in that congregation that, people just didn't want to cross that line. So anyways, with that being said, much love to Brian though. Genesis chapter 32, starting at, read 22 to 32, but I want to show you something about verse 30. All right, it says, so Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. Okay, so this is when he wrestled with the angel, right? Okay, let's just read it as it is. Start at verse 22. And he arose that night and took his 2 wives, his 2 female servants, and his 11 sons, and crossed over the ford of Jabbok. He took them, sent them over the brook, and sent over what he had. Then Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of day. Now when he saw that he did not prevail against him, he touched the socket of his hip, and the socket of Jacob's hip was out of joint, and he wrestled with him. And he said, let me go, for the day breaks. But he said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. So he said to him, what is your name? He said, Jacob. And he said, your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed. Then Jacob asked, saying, tell me your name, I pray. And he said, why is it that you ask about my name? And he blessed him there. So Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. Just as he crossed over Peniel, the sun rose on him, and he limped on his hip. All right. So he saw God face to face. All right. And your pineal gland is considered your third eye. And you can see things a certain kind of way, seeing through your pineal gland. And he saw God face to face, and he called the place Peniel. Okay? And I'm just giving you some information and something to meditate on and chew. And like I said, John had visions on the island of Patmos, and the tribe there is called the Peniel tribe. All right? And if your eye, singular, be full of light, all right, then the whole body be full of light. Just sharing some stuff, but once again, it deals with your body being full of light. So we got 613 laws, 248 positive precepts, 365 prohibitions, 248 organs, 365 sinews, 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet, 22 chromosomes, 22 amino acids. Christ was crucified in Psalms 22, 22 verses for the virtuous woman. Christ was crucified at the 9th hour. You have 9 holes in your body, all right? 9 planets away from the sun, 9 months for being, far as being pregnant, all right? Knowledge to born, right? Having to be born again, the different feast days, far as it matching a woman's pregnancy, all right? Your eye being full of light, your pineal gland, far as the measurement of a man, 144, and it matching with the and notice that it says a man, that of an angel. And then we see with Jacob, it talks about he wrestled with a man, but then it said he wrestled with God. All right. Now watch this. Hebrews chapter 13. All right. Verse 2. Matter of fact, I'm going to just read verse 1 because I like the word love. You know what I'm saying? I want to promote love. You feel me? Because we need more love in this world, be honest with you. Verse 13, chapter 13, Hebrews chapter 13, verse 1. Let brotherly love continue. Do not forget to entertain strangers, for by so doing, some have unwittingly entertained angels. Okay? So you can be in front of a stranger or a man, and they can look, an angel can look like me. Straight up. I ain't got no wings, you know what I'm saying? I'm not in no movie. But the reality is that I could easily be an angel, you know what I'm saying? And no one will ever know. And it says, be careful how you entertain strangers, you know what I'm saying? You could be on an angel's broadcast right now, directly from heaven, you know what I'm saying? And to be honest with you, Malak in Hebrew means king, it means messenger, it means ambassador, and it also means angel. So, you know, when Gabriel or Michael or anybody comes and does anything and they say, hey, I'm a messenger, you know what I'm saying? The thing is that they're a malak. They're an ambassador. They come in as a representation on behalf of the Father. Okay? So they're messengers, ambassadors, angels, and king. But an angel can be a man. You know, one of my brethren that I spoke to, and he also said an angel can also be an individual who just at a pivotal moment in your life does something for you that changes the course of your life forever, and it's done in a righteous way, a righteous manner. It's a pivotal point that you really needed them. They was your guardian angel. They might have jumped in front of a bullet for you. They might have brought forth a word that clearly got you to understand the Bible. You know, they was a shoulder that you could cry on when you needed them the most. So, you know, an angel is not somebody that we're looking around for that has all these big old wings and stuff. Now, there are those kind of angels, and it talks about that in Isaiah as far as how it's describing certain seraphims or cherubims and so forth. But as far as here on earth, an angel can look just like this. And it's trying to get, and I'm not saying ye or yay that I'm that or what. I'm just trying to give you an example. It can come in many forms, you know. All right. Now, back to the body. So we got also the arm, lega, arm, head, and Allah is a Hebrew word, and you cannot deny it. It's spelled Aleph, Lamed, Hey. Okay. It means oath in Hebrew also. It also means to ascend. It's the root word of El Elyon. The word Allah is the piece of it is in Emmanuel. That's how that El represents the Allah aspect of it. Same thing. And Elijah, the Eli is the root word of that is Allah. And Christ dwelt with us in the flesh. Arm, lega, arm, head. All right. Now, also too, I learned that the right side of the brain is the Ark of the Covenant, and Christ sits at the right hand of the Father. And the left side of the brain is considered Allah. All right. Now, here's the thing. Your left side of your brain controls the right side. And the arm, the hand of the Most High God who sits at the right hand is controlled. Everything that he does everything that he said was controlled by the Father. Every word that came out of his mouth was of the Father. But he's the right hand and sits at the right hand of the Father. He is the Ark of the Covenant that sits between the two angels. You understand what I'm saying? And your left side of your brain controls the right side. It controls this, the right hand. You understand what I'm saying? And Allah, God, controls the head. The head controls the right hand. All right? Isaiah 59, verse 1. All right. Behold, the Lord's hand is not shortened that it cannot save, nor his ear heavy that it cannot hear. But your iniquities have separated you from your God, and your sins have hidden his face from you, so that he will not hear. For your hands are defiled with blood, and your fingers with iniquities. Your lips have spoken lies, your tongue has muttered perversity. Notice that it's just describing all these different aspects of the body. You know what I'm saying? The Lord's hand, his ear. You see? He's hid his face. And it says, and your fingers with iniquity. Your lips, your tongue. So a lot of things in the scriptures all keeps coming back to a body, far as the body that dwelt with us in the flesh, and then far as us being the body. All right. Now, with that being said, he's the voice of the Father, right? Because it says the begotten Son is the voice of the Father. Every word that he spoke was of the Father. So he's the voice of the Father. He's the ambassador, the malak, the king, the messenger that came to us as a man, but also an angel. Because he is the angel of the Most High God that led the children of Israel. So the thing is that he is the voice. Isaiah chapter 6, verse 8. Also I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send, and who will go for us? All right. Talking about a voice. Deuteronomy chapter 4. Verse 33. Did any people ever hear the voice of God speaking out of the midst of the fire, as you have heard and live? The voice of God. And we know that the one that was inside the bush in the fire was the Mashiach, Christ. So, once again, did any people ever hear the voice of God speaking out the midst of the fire, as you have heard and lived? All right. Now, let's keep on reading, matter of fact. Or did God ever try to go and take for himself a nation from the midst of another nation by trials, by signs, by wonders, by war, by a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, and by great terrors, according to all that the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before your eyes? To you it was shown that you might know that the Lord himself is God. There is none other beside him. Out of heaven he lets you hear his voice, that he might instruct you on earth. He showed you his great fire, and you heard his words out of the midst of the fire. Okay? 5:23. So it was when you heard the voice from the midst of the darkness, while the mountain was burning with fire, that you came near to me, all the heads of your tribes and your elders. Okay? You see that? Still dealing with the body, you know what I'm saying? The voice, the right hand. He has an ear to hear, right? If you have an ear to hear, you know what I'm saying? Those that can hear, hear. You feel me? But some people have ears but can't hear. Some people have eyes but can't see. Okay? So, you know, he's if your eye be full of light, right? You feel me? Arm, leg, arm, head. 248 organs and 365 sinews. 9 holes. Okay? Then, far as, let's look at the temple. This is the temple of the Most High God. This is the temple right here. You're looking at the temple of the Most High Allah, the temple of the Most High Yahuwah, the temple of the Most High Yahweh, the temple of the Most High Ahaya Asher Ahaya, the temple of the Most High Eye Asher Eye, the temple of the Most High El Elyon, the temple of Heni Ani. This is the temple. Through his begotten son, Yahusha, Yahawashah, Yashiyah, Yeshua, Jesus Christ, the Aleph Tav, the first and the last. Okay? This is the temple. All right? Now, remember, before he left, he said he was going to send the Comforter, the Holy Spirit. All right? And do not forget Luke chapter 4, verse 60, I believe. No, Luke chapter 6, verse 40. That's what it is. I done got it twisted. A disciple is not above his teacher, but everyone who's perfectly trained will be like his teacher. Once again, Luke chapter 6, verse 40. A disciple is not above his teacher, but everyone who is perfectly trained will be like his teacher. Okay? So, John chapter 2. When Christ said, hey, I'm going to destroy this temple and build it up in 3 days. I'm going to give you encouragement. You know, he came and took off his righteous robes so we could put on his righteous robes. Matter of fact, let's read that. 2 Corinthians. So we can see. Alright. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, starting at verse 20. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, starting at verse 20. Now then, we are ambassadors for Christ. Remember, Malak means king, means ambassador, messenger, or angel. Alright? So, Christ was a king. Christ was a messenger. Christ was an ambassador. Okay? Alright. Also an angel. Now, 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 20. Now then, we are ambassadors for Christ, as though God was pleading through us. We implore you on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God. For he made him who knew no sin to be sin for us, that we might become the righteousness of God in him. So the thing is that he was without sin and he took on sin, and by his stripes we are healed. So if you are dwelling in sin or you are dwelling in darkness, you are healed by him. You are made perfect by him when he was crucified. But now you must take that opportunity in that moment to work towards putting on them righteous robes. And now this is where we start to have the waters get kind of murky, because not just the hearers of the word are justified, but the doers. And we as a people struggle with the doing. It's great to sit down and listen to the word. It's great to listen to a good word go forth. But once that word is done, how does it manifest? How does it become fulfilled in your life? And that is the key, because we want to take this. I'm doing this to preach the word. That's the knowledge. That's the information. And then you sit back and you're under the sound of my voice. You're under the sounds of this teaching. Okay? And you understand the information that's going forth. And if you understand it and the sheep hear his voice, and it's not about me, but if what I'm saying resonates with your soul and you can feel the spirit, the Hamashiach, then you can comprehend. And then so you go from the information becomes you comprehend it. That's comprehension. Now the wisdom is this. being able to apply and have it as application in your life. Okay? So that's the part that we're struggling with. Once again, we can be like the teacher. Okay? So if the church, the temple, destroy it. But you don't have to destroy it in the sense of, let me go burn it down and set it on fire. Destroy mentally that someone told you that's the temple of God. And understand that you are the temple of God, and you can rebuild your temple in 3 days, just like the Mashiach built up his temple. Okay? But you must understand the ordinances and how the temple is set up. So John chapter 2 verse 18. All right. So the Jews answered and said to him, "What sign do you show to us since you do these things?" Jesus answered and said to them, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." Then the Jews said, "It has taken 46 years to build this temple, and will you raise it up in 3 days?" But he was speaking of the temple of his body. Therefore, when he had risen from the dead, his disciples remembered that he had said this to them, and they believed the scripture and the word which Jesus has said. Now, someone might say, hey, now that's talking about when he resurrected from the dead, when he was crucified. So that's prophesying later on when he will be resurrected from the dead and all of that. Let's go back and read this carefully. But he was speaking of the temple of his body. Therefore, when he had risen from the dead, his disciples remembered that he had said this to them, and they believed the scriptures and the word which Jesus has said. Okay? So, he hadn't been crucified yet, and he had risen from the dead. How is this so? Transformed his mind. Okay?